On Friday the 20th of December, just last month, a 23-year-old man named Nathanial Mueller decided to go for a late-night walk through the woods after leaving his friend's studio in Quincy, Illinois. But little did anybody know at the time that this would be his last official sighting. The next day, his car was reported by a local resident as, for reasons unknown, the vehicle had been left in their driveway, which was located on the intersection of routes C and E just west of Frankford, Missouri. So after finding out who the vehicle belonged to, the police then contacted Nathaniel's family to find out where he was, at which point they were mortified to learn that the young man had decided to go for a late-night walk, failing to return home. This situation was then made even worse when it was discovered that Nathaniel had left his cell phone behind in Quincy, and his wallet and car keys were also found in his car, which was parked over 40 miles away near Frankford. So, given the troubling details of the case, police then sent K9 units and drones out to the area that Nathaniel was last seen, hoping to find him alive and well. But these searches would only uncover a set of footprints and a head covering, both of which belonged to Nathaniel. However, despite the efforts of law enforcement, almost 3 weeks on from his initial disappearance, Nathaniel remains a missing person, leaving his family and friends distraught as they are only left to wonder, what really happened to Nathanial Mueller, and who could be responsible? Nathaniel Christopher Mueller, otherwise known as Nate, was born in 2001 in the town of Hannibal, Missouri, where he grew up surrounded by a loving and close-knit family. From a young age, Nathaniel was known for his adventurous spirit and love for the outdoors, often spending time exploring nature with his friends or even sometimes alone. His grandmother lived on a property surrounded by woodlands, so whenever he would stay there, you would usually find him walking around the area. Not too much else is widely known about his early years, but those who knew Nathaniel always described him as somebody who was extremely kind and caring, traits which he would go on to utilize when he became a father to his beautiful daughter in 2021. At around the same time, he was enrolled at the University of Memphis, where he held a part-time position as a landscape laborer during his studies. And after graduating, he would go on to land a job working for General Mills to begin his career, with aspirations of one day becoming a fully qualified personal trainer. But despite the pressures that came with his hectic life, Nathaniel's connection to his family and community remained strong, as he would always make an effort to keep in touch no matter where he lived. However, this incredibly promising future would suddenly come crashing down when Nathaniel would mysteriously disappear on that fateful day in December. On Friday the 20th of December, the 23-year-old father was supposed to be visiting a friend's place in Quincy, Illinois, when he would spontaneously decide to head out for a late-night walk at around 10 p.m. For whatever reason, Nathaniel did not feel the need to bring his cell phone, so alone he set off on his dark adventure, with nothing but the clothes on his back. However, as the hours continued to tick by, with Nathaniel failing to return back to the residence, alarm bells began to ring as he was not supposed to be out for this long. So, concerned that he may have been in danger, friends and family began to call his cell phone, hoping that he would be able to update them on his whereabouts, but they would soon be shocked to find out that he had left his only form of communication behind. So, beginning to fear the worst, Nathaniel's family then contacted the local police to report him as missing, but little did they know that the authorities were already looking into the case, as Nathaniel's car had been found abandoned 40 miles away across state lines. On Saturday the 21st of December, the Pike County Sheriff's Office would respond to a call from a devastated family who were concerned for the well-being of their loved one. According to media reports, at around 12 p.m, a car had been discovered abandoned on the driveway of a home in Frankford, Missouri, with the keys still in the ignition. At the time, police were able to ascertain that the vehicle belonged to Nathanial Mueller after running the license plate against their database, and after locating the telephone number that they had on file, the officers then attempted to call Nathaniel to find out what was going on. However, after managing to get in touch with Nathaniel's family, the police were horrified to find out that he was last seen leaving his friend's place in Quincy, Illinois, where he announced that he would be going for a walk in the woods. So, concerned that the young man may have been in danger, the police then opened an official missing person case for Nathaniel, after promising his family that they would do everything they could to find him. However, unbeknownst to the police department, there would be some details that would soon emerge, which would transform this concerning case into something much darker. On Sunday the 22nd of December, the Pike County Sheriff's Office would team up with members of the Frankford, Bowling Green and Clarksville Fire Departments to conduct a grid search of the areas Nathaniel was known to frequent. At the same time, assistance was also provided by the Hannibal Police Department, who utilised drones and canine units in search of any evidence that could have led back to the missing young man. However, during the initial stages of the investigation, the search teams were unable to find anything of note, leading the authorities to start expanding the radius of their searches, and shortly after making this decision, an officer would stumble upon a piece of evidence that would blow the case wide open. In the woods surrounding the area of which Nathaniel's car was discovered, footprints were found that matched his profile, as well as a head covering which supposedly belonged to Nathaniel. So, given this huge update in the case, it was now strongly believed that Nathaniel's car had been driven from Quincy, Illinois all the way over to Frankford, not too far from where his grandmother lived, and after abandoning the vehicle, he then set off on foot through the local woodlands. However, the key details which still confused the investigating officers were that Nathaniel had left his cell phone in Quincy, and the last person to see him claimed that he was only supposed to be going for a walk. So, given that his car was found 40 miles away with the keys still in the ignition, caused major concerns for the police, leading them to increase their efforts even further. On Thursday the 26th of December, the Sheriff's Office, along with special search and rescue teams from Gateway Search Dogs and Search and Rescue Canine Co-op, covered approximately 100 plus acres of mostly wooded areas, in search of further evidence to help explain Nathaniel's strange disappearance. Additionally, a team from the Missouri State Highway Patrol Water Division also chipped in to search a local pond for any traces of the young man. But unfortunately, despite their massive efforts throughout the entire Christmas period, the case began to turn cold, with no further evidence coming to light in the following days. However, the investigating officers would eventually reveal to the public that when Nathaniel's car was first discovered, not only did they find the keys in the ignition, but also he had left his wallet behind as well as the clothes he was supposedly wearing that night. So, with these details being thrown into the mix, the concern that Nathaniel's family and friends were feeling would only grow stronger, as they banded together to help raise the profile of his case. But once again, despite their efforts to consistently share the story on social media, after almost 3 weeks of searching, Nathaniel still remains a missing person to this day, leaving his loved ones desperate for answers as they await further updates to the case. Now, unfortunately, as far as the official investigation goes, this is all we know for now. But in the weeks following Nathaniel's disappearance, he has received constant support from his family and friends, who continue to spread awareness about his case despite the media seeming to turn a blind eye. With this in mind, you would hope that it will only be a matter of time before he is found. However, given that Nathaniel Mueller has now been missing for over 2 weeks despite the massive search efforts of multiple different police departments and volunteer groups, I can't help but feel that the likelihood of his safe return is only growing weaker as time passes. So with that, let's get into some of the potential theories. Now, if you are familiar with my channel, then you will know that during this portion of the video I will usually spend a few minutes detailing the potential explanations to help us understand what could have happened. However, given how recent Nathaniel's case is, I feel it would be extremely insensitive to run through these theories in graphic detail, so instead I will just provide a quick run through of the ideas being discussed by the family and the police to ensure that no stone is left unturned. So with this in mind, what are the likely explanations for Nathaniel's strange and abrupt disappearance? Well, according to authorities, they believe that when Nathaniel left his friend's place in Quincy, Illinois, rather than going for a walk as he claimed, he instead jumped in his car, perhaps forgetting he had left his cell phone behind, and drove back to an area he was more familiar with. From here, he then abandoned his vehicle to go on a walk, as his grandmother had a property in the area that he would supposedly explore in his free time. However, during this walk, something potentially fatal may have happened, resulting in his inability to return home. Now, in order for this theory to be true, you have to remember that Nathaniel not only left his cell phone behind, but he also left his keys in the ignition of his car, as well as his wallet and clothes that he was supposedly wearing that night. So the only way to explain this would be to assume that Nathaniel may have been dealing with some mental struggles, either brought on by an undiagnosed mental health issue or perhaps as a reaction to a particular substance. But as of right now, there is no concrete evidence to prove if either of these scenarios could have played out, and there is also no solid evidence that Nathaniel was even the person driving the car from Quincy to Frankford that night. As far as we're aware, anybody could have jumped in his car and driven it to Frankford, and planted all of the evidence that was found in the vehicle and in the surrounding woodland. Also, there is no mention of any suspects by the police, so they could be interrogating somebody as we speak. However, as I can neither confirm or deny if any of these theories are true, for now we have to be vigilant that we keep all options open and allow the investigating police officers to continue searching for answers. But in the meantime, please make sure to share this story, as I have it under good authority that Nathaniel's family and friends feel that his case is not being treated fairly by the media, so we have to do everything we can to raise its profile before it's too late. Anyway, on that note, I think I'll leave this video here, but as always, if you have any other theories of your own which you think may help explain what really happened to Nathaniel Mueller, please leave your ideas in the comments down below and I'll do my best to get back to you. But until next time, thank you so much for watching, and make sure to subscribe to the channel for updates on these stories. Also, if you found this story interesting, feel free to check out the playlist on screen now, which covers the many other cases of young people of colour who continue to go missing in recent years.